that you're all doing well. Welcome to today's video. I thought that I would do a story time today, and it's just going to be purely whispered, no other triggers. And I thought that I would tell you guys my ASMR story. I made a video similar to this years ago, and I would bet pretty much anything that most of you haven't seen it because it was a long time ago. So I thought that I would make it again. I've been thinking about doing it ever since my Draw My Life video, because when I sat down to make that Draw My Life video, I had intended to kind of talk about it a little bit, like how I first discovered ASMR when I was a kid and all that, but I, one, couldn't figure out how to draw it, and two, it would have just taken too much time out of that video. So I was like, you know what, I'll just make a separate video. You guys like my purely whispered, rambles and my true crimes, like all my videos that are just purely whispered from beginning to end. So I figured maybe you guys would like this kind of story time video. So yeah, I'm just gonna go through like my first memories, I guess, of experiencing ASMR, how I found it, like some school experiences when I was a kid, and then like maybe getting started on YouTube. I don't know, we'll just see how this goes. So if you watched my Draw My Life video, you probably saw that when I was younger, I spent a lot of time at my grandma's house and my aunt's house. They lived in the same house, and it was next door to the house that I grew up in for the first couple years of my life. The same house that my aunt lives in now. The house is still in the family. So even though we lived right next door, I would sleep over there a lot. Sometimes it was because, my parents needed like someone to babysit me, so I would stay with my aunt and my grandma, and sometimes it was just because I wanted to sleep over there. So I spent a lot of time there growing up. And when I did sleep there, I would sleep in my aunt's room with her. And she would always tell me a bedtime story, but it was never from a book. She would actually just make up a story. And it's funny, it was a legitimate story. She called it the Paulina story. Paulina is like the most Italian name. You can tell that this is my aunt on the Italian side. Paulina, and if you translate it to English, technically means little ball. But anyway, it was called the Paulina story, and it was about a young girl named Paulina who drove around in this car. If any of you have seen the old movie Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, it was like she would drive around in that car with like a whole bunch of animals, and you needed like a good heart to be able to turn the car on. So she had a good heart, and every time my aunt told me the story, it was a little bit different every time, so I can't give you like a real synopsis, but she would incorporate, like, our neighbors would be in the story, and Paulina was always on a mission to go save somebody. Anyway, so I'm trying to convince my aunt to actually write the book and like publish it. So if you ever come across a story called the Paulina story, you know where it came from. Anywho, that was the story that started it all for me when it comes to ASMR. So at this time in my life, I was probably, 4, 5, around there. And she couldn't just tell me the story. She would have to whisper it. I don't know if I asked her to, or if that's just what she did. That's probably what she did. my lips and saying random words, and you loved it. And it's true, I would fall asleep 5 minutes max, usually less. It would just knock me out. And I remember getting very intense ASMR, wasn't even, I mean, yeah, I guess, okay, ASMR tingles in my head and on my shoulders, and it was very intense, almost where it would like give me a chill, like I would like twitch a little bit. I don't know, that's what would happen. So it was always this ongoing joke as I was growing up that the Polina story would just knock me out like that. And even when I went home, you know, my mom was like putting me to sleep, I would try to get her to whisper a story in my ear, and it always, now that I think about it, it always had to be like made up on the fly. Like it was never really like reading from a book. It was always made up on the fly. So maybe that's why I like whisper rambles so much. I don't know, probably. But it's funny because my mom would try, but it was never the same as the Polina story. No one could get me to fall asleep as fast as my aunt could. And there's just a bunch of like random memories coming to me now. There's a picture somewhere, I don't think I'm gonna be able to find it, but there's a picture somewhere of me in an Easter dress. I was probably like 6 or 7, I don't know, no, 5 or 6, in my Easter dress on Easter Sunday. I guess I went to go see my grandparents after church, and in the picture you see my aunt is sitting on the couch and I'm like laying in her lap, baby style, even though I was big at that point. I was like 6, but I was laying in her lap, and she's just like, I'm sleeping, and her face is right here, and she's just whispering the story to me. So it got to a point where it wasn't just at bedtime. I guess I would just make her tell me, you know, the Polina story at random times, because even if I wasn't falling asleep, it would relax me. You guys, you know the feeling. So obviously back then ASMR did not have a name, and I wasn't on the internet at that age, so I didn't know. So other than the stories, I remember in 3rd grade, I sat next to a young boy named Cameron, and I haven't thought about him in so long. I went to elementary school, middle school, and high school with him. Anyway, he sat to my left, and sometimes we would do like independent reading, so we would all grab a book and sit at our desk and, silently read. But Cameron always read, like he would like whisper it to himself she would just talk to me the whole time. And so it got to a point where if she ever did want to sleep, I wouldn't let her because I just wanted her to talk to me, because obviously you weren't allowed to talk during nap time. So she would have to very quietly whisper to me. I forgot about that. So there were little times, and then like as I got older in middle school, every once in a while I would have teachers who had like a weird, not weird, but like a different kind of accent, or they would talk differently. And again, it wouldn't give me like the tingles, but it would just like, it would relax me. It would make me feel really chill, just like to hear them talk. Or when we were all getting into that phase of everybody was getting braces, there are a couple of ASMR videos that people are wearing like retainers or braces, and it does make the way you speak different. It makes you sound different. So when students were called on to read out loud or whatever, if we were all reading together, I would love when kids with braces would talk. This is something, see, I'm like hearing myself say these things, and this is something that only people who know what ASMR is and like experience it would find that normal. You guys get me. Anyway, I remember my 7th grade English teacher also, she was very proper, very like perfect posture, perfect, she was just like perfect, and she would talk very calm. She didn't really have an accent, but just the way she spoke was very proper and like sophisticated. I don't know. And she would wear like these really nice rings. They were simple, but they were very nice. And I don't know, just like watching her like show us things like papers and books and stuff, I don't know, it like mesmerized me. She was terrifying though, like as a person and as a teacher she was terrifying, but I liked watching her as she would like give lessons and stuff. So then I guess we can fast forward to when I was like 11 or 12. I for some reason had my own laptop. I don't know why my kids are not getting their own laptop at that age. Anyway, not that I like really did anything bad, but like I think about it now, and I had no business having a laptop. Anyway, but I would sit in my room by myself, and because at my mom's house it was just me, I was an only child in that house, so I had my own room. I would go in with my computer and I would do whatever. And I remember just searching whispering. I had no idea whisper videos were a thing. Obviously no one knew what ASMR was yet, it didn't have a name. And there weren't many they were called whisper videos at the time. There weren't many, but what came up was behind the scenes footage from the show Big Brother, which is like a game show if you don't know, and there were clips on YouTube of the contestants like in their rooms or in the common rooms or whatever, because they always have to wear a mic, like a little lapel mic or something. They were always mic'd at all times and always on camera at all times, which sounds horrible, but anyway. So all of their conversations were recorded, and in the videos they're basically just like whispering to each other and like strategizing against the other people. So they're whispering because they don't want the other contestants to hear, you know, they're like building alliances with people and all that. And I remember there was this contestant named Amber. I think the videos are still up. If you search whispering Big Brother, they'll come up. And my two favorites were Amanda and this girl named Jamaica. And you should go look it up, I think. Those were like the best to this day, like the best ASMR whisper voices I ever heard. They would give me the tingles every time. Sometimes I would fall asleep to them. I even, when like LimeWire was a thing, and you could like convert, you can still do this, you can onto my iPod Nano, the big ones. Was it the iPod Nano? I don't know. The block ones. And I would listen to the audio, like in the car or whatever. I like created my own little ASMR Spotify playlist at like 11 years old or 12 years old, whatever. And then the first actual ASMR video that I found was Maria Gentle Whispering. Of course, I still consider her like the mother of ASMR. It was her physical therapy role play, I think. She was wearing a yellow t-shirt with Thumper from Bambi on it, and I was like so like entranced by this woman, just like the way she would move her hands, the way that she would speak, and her role plays were legit. Like even back then, she had the setup, she had the phones, I think she would even bring her camera to work sometimes. And I don't remember where I heard this, but she would bring her camera to work sometimes, and like when there was nobody around, or like at the end of a day or whatever, she would film and like use the computer and the phone like as her props. It was very legit. And I was never really into role plays, but that was the first one I ever saw, and I loved it. I fell in love with her. I started watching all her videos, and then from there I found a whole bunch of other people, like the OGs. I'm not even gonna remember their usernames because it was such a long time ago, and a lot of them don't even have their channels up anymore, which is really sad. But it became my norm, like all throughout high school and college. I would always put on like a whispering video while I was doing my homework. Savannah's Voice, who still makes videos now, she's one of my favorite channels. She always has been. She has a lot of, she called them whisper mumbles, which is basically like, you know, an audible whispering, and she would read from like a book or something. And all those were my favorites. And, you know, so it was inaudible, so I didn't have to worry about what she was saying, but it was just something playing while I was doing my homework or reading my assignments or studying or whatever I was doing. And so I watched ASMR for probably, I'm gonna guess, 5 or 6 years straight. And then my freshman year of college is when I decided to make my first whisper video. Now actually, my first video on my channel is not the first one I ever made. I would say maybe even a year before I posted my first video, I made a video. And I don't remember what it was. Maybe it was like a show and tell, because I know there were different objects involved that I was showing on camera, so maybe it was a show and tell, I don't know. But I just made that for fun. I made that for me, and then I deleted it. I had no intention of ever making videos and posting on YouTube, ever. And then during my winter break of freshman year, January 2015, yeah, I made my first video. I set up my phone on my windowsill in our living room. We lived on one of the busiest streets ever. Not really, but it was really loud. There was like a deli across the street and a bank and like a dry cleaner at one point. Like it was just always busy. And I decided to film just in the middle of the day as the kids from the elementary school nearby were all going home. So it was a horrible video. It's still up if you want to go watch it. It's a camera brushing video. The background noise is really bad, and I didn't really know what I was doing, but I was like, you know what the heck. Back then I was still very shy and very insecure, so to this day, honestly, I have no idea what possessed me to post that video and make it public. No idea. close-up facts video, and back then you would just show, like for facts videos, a lot of people would just show from here down, so like your whole face wasn't in it. It was literally just like your mouth, which is weird, like thinking about it now, especially because like my crooked teeth. Anyway, but I posted that, and then people were watching it, and I remember the first person that I ever had comment on one of my videos that I watched, and I think it was my second video, was 𝓢𝓸𝓬𝓲𝓪. This blonde Australian guy. He used to make videos regularly. He doesn't really anymore, but he had an amazing voice too. And he commented on it and was like, "Oh, this is really good. Your voice is really good." And I was like, "What?" And so from that on, I just started regularly popping out videos, and people would watch them. And then one thing turned into the next, and here we are. So ASMR, whether I knew what it was or not, has always been in my life somehow. Even now, I'm gonna be 24 soon, and even now, like when people talk to me sometimes, like whether it's an accent or whatever, I find myself paying attention to it, and I like it. Even if it doesn't, like, I don't really get tingles anymore, but I do get the relaxing, like, sensation, and I love it. And actually, my boss, one of my bosses, my manager, she has her tongue pierced, like the rattlesnake ones, and when she talks, I can hear it, like, hitting her teeth. This is weird to even admit, but whatever, I don't even care. So I hear it, like I hear it hitting her tooth when she speaks, and I find myself like paying attention to it, and I like, again, it doesn't give me like the ASMR tingles or anything, but I like enjoy listening to her speak. I know, I don't know. So, yeah, and I mean, obviously I watch ASMR videos almost every day, and I love it. So, this is a very technic community where we all understand each other, so I don't feel that weird telling you all that. But yeah, let me know if you can relate to any of that this whole video, I know it was all over the place kind of, but it made me feel very nostalgic, just like thinking about all those memories. So if you can remember any of your first ASMR experiences, let me know in the comments. I would love to read them. See